I'm Sudeepthi Dondapati. So far in the earlier sessions, we talked about presentation skills, we talked about some speaking skills, and we talked about the necessary tools and strategies, or like some important concepts related to speaking skills, writing, and reading. Now, part of that, I have brought a very important topic before you, and that is also very fundamental, and it is very basic, and it is present everywhere, and you see, right, whatever you do in whatever profession you do, you have to have this sort of thing, right? So conversation skills are very important. So why is this conversation skill very important, and why is it so important, especially for working professionals? And if you're going to be an engineer, upcoming engineer, definitely, my dear listeners, this is for you, right? Let's get started with the topic conversation skills. Conversation skills or conversational skills. Right. Now you can see the picture over there, right? Conversation skills are necessary and they're very much everywhere. You talk to your colleague, you talk to your boss, you talk to your maid, you talk to your person who is working for your company. You talk to an outsider, you talk to a stranger, you talk to your friend, you talk to your person who is sharing your work. So you talk to so many people. So maybe I can say, like, this is something to do with conversation. So talking is something informal, I said, but what you are trying to do is conversation. So this conversation is very important. So in professional setups especially, you have to carry out so many conversations where you have to carry out a number of tasks, a number of responsibilities. So how do you do? What do you do? Before you take up anything, you have to start conversations. Before you take up anything, you have to come up with a great conversational skill, right? So that is more relevant and that is very important. So now let us discuss why this conversational skill is so important in academia or like in any profession, and why is it not very important and why is it important. So you have to do all such things, right? Next, conversational skills are equally important as other skills like presentation skills or oratory skills or writing skills or anything like that. So it occupies more importance right now. Do you want to build better relations with people? Then you should have this conversation skill. You want to develop very good networking relationships, then you should have this conversational skills. If you want to occupy an important place in the hearts of and minds of the people, then you have to have this conversational skills. So it is very important, it is very pivotal. Why? So any kind of work you take up, before you have to sit with them, you have to work out, you have to solve the issue, right? So you need to have a sort of conversation over there, right? What do you do? You have to sit and you have to draw attention to that. So as a matter of fact, you have to come up with a great challenge. For example, like you are given a huge task, you cannot resolve on your own. So what is that you're going to do? You have to sit and operate on those terms and those concepts, and for that you need to start a conversation with your colleague. So how do you do it? So that is a question now. So and if you don't have a proper conversation, then the work that has been assigned to you will not be properly carried by the people there, and definitely you don't feel responsible in completing the task. Definitely you don't feel very important in fulfilling the task. So your conversation should be in place, your conversation should be intact. So they are very important. That is one thing. Next, if you pay attention upon your conversational skill, because it will allow you to get more opportunities for the upcoming task that you are taking up. So if you don't grab this opportunity, or if you undermine that, then automatically discussions will not prosper, will not be fruitful, and as a result, what happens is like you may not get different chances and opportunities, right? So and whatever ideas you have on your mind may not be given due importance, or like you may not get equal opportunities as your other colleagues get. So as a result, obviously your growth is stuck. And so that is why the basic preliminary, the basic background homework, that preparation, what you need to do is this kind of preparation, that is preparation for conversational skills, right? No, you cannot overlook, or you cannot undermine that. Right now, try to draw a border and write the positive points of that person that you are conversing, and as a result you take the help of the other people, and you do some mini research, and then you will get the related information on that, right? And if you have this kind of good conversational skills, then obviously you don't face issues related to dying conversations, right? And what I feel there is, like, many times when I see people do not have proper conversational skills, they don't have proper presentational skills, they don't have proper conversational skills, and as a result uh, they cannot pass on, or they cannot transmit the information properly. So what happens? You cannot do whatever you want to accomplish. That is why this conversational skill is very important. Next, having conversations that go nowhere and run out of steam. Having conversations that go nowhere and run out of steam. That means, like, like, you cannot depend on irrelevant matter for that sake. You cannot you cannot just say that, oh, it's very important, and that I cannot take up this I am very much interested and I'm here to discuss all that. No, you cannot say that. It's just because it is very important for you, but there should be some relevance, right? And you cannot take any diversions from that, and there should be a complete point, and that there should be some relevance based on that. So that is important. Next, having awkward silence instead of happy chatter with friends, peers, or even strangers. So here is the problem. Many times what happens is you don't interact with the peers. So as a result, what happens? You are not sitting before them, and you are very silent and deadly cold silence, and that shows your agreement. Even if you don't like it, that shows your agreement. Even if you are not okay with it, that shows you are okay. So this kind of awkward silence will always give a bad impression about your personality. So avoid that. Where you have to speak, please open your mouth and speak. Where you should not speak, don't speak at all. So that is more important, right? And for that, you see, right from the low class employee to the higher official, they maintain this awkward silence when they need to speak, and that will cause different communication problems. That will cause different problems because there won't be any communication, and as a result, they do not know their responses. They don't know how to confront. They don't know how to convince them. They don't know how to persuade them, and they don't know how to address the work given to them. So what do? They have to conduct all these things. All these issues are really taken care of, right? And so this is very important. Always make sure you have this sort of mindset. Do not have or carry on this awkward silence. Break this awkward silence. Instead of that, have a nice conversation with them. Have a cheerful, have a great workout, and then do that. Not being able to think of anything to say as you are panicking. and your mind goes blank. You are panicking and your mind goes blank, and you are not able to say anything because of nervousness or because of the frustration. So my dear listeners, break your silence where it is needed, okay? And just because you're panicking, just because you are nervous, and that will always that will help you be the person who cannot speak, and this nervousness and this kind of mm, kind of fears unnecessarily, they will hamper your growth, and as a result you cannot win the target that you are really aspiring for. So that is very important, right? And some more important things that that you can really look forward to is you can understand their tempers, and accordingly you can behave with them. You can sit before them. You can have a good, peaceful and a healthy chat with them, right? So avoid this kind of mindset, right? Empty conversation is very dangerous. For example, you see two people, and one person always initiates the discussion, whereas the second person, she or he lacks of words. He lacks doing he lacks all these things, problems, and where they cannot they want to say something, but they are not communicating it, just because they lack this conversational skill. So now how do you overcome that? Take initiatives. Take initiatives. You start your conversation, or else if somebody else starts the conversation, then you don't wait for the opportunity. Take, and then respond to them. And as a matter of fact, you can obviously you can come up with a great person. And financially, sometimes what happens is you may not be in a good condition, so as of because of that reason also, you may not come up with enough discussion. And or sometimes academically you are very backward, and you professionally you are not at all progressing, and what do? You don't have words to speak. So as a result, what you do is you maintain this awkward silence. So, and sometimes some people try to speak, but they cannot speak completely. They try to say, but they cannot say everything. They try to do, but they cannot do everything. That is more important, right? So you build up such kind of build up such inhibitions, and you have to show what all you have to do from your side, right? So stop entertaining these empty conversations. No, either you give response, or else you initiate. Either take initiatives, or else give responses, but don't be silent without giving anything, right? So that's one thing. Now, this is conversational skills. A conversational skill is one of the most common and direct methods. So for communicating, you're going to communicate a lot, right? And they are something where you cannot overlook, right? And because of course these are part of your communication skills, and you might be wondering, why is that conversational skill is different from communication skill? No, this is part of that. Conversational skill is one of the most common and direct methods for communicating, right? In order to be effective as possible, it's important to know how to conduct yourself in a conversation. So during the conversation, what do you have to do, and how do you do, right? And how you can really manage to sit and work out all that. So you cannot perform great presentation, in case you do not have a proper methodology or proper conversation. So it is important to know how to conduct yourself in a conversation. You should know some do's. You should know you should know some don'ts. So you have to draw a line and face accordingly, right? Next, healthy conversation is very important. Sometimes some people are very cordial. They look at you and they listen to you, and they sit and they listen to you, with great conversations, right? So what do they do here? What the kind of problem that they face is, some people are very good, you don't face any problem, but some people don't carry out a healthy conversation. So at that time, what do? You sit before them, and you wait for the opportunities, and you look for some desperate opportunities, because some people have a very bad conversation skill. So as a result, your mindset will be very upset, and you cannot take out, or you cannot bring out the input or the essential input that you want to really transfer. So that's more important, right? And in case you don't have any chance, right? In case you don't have any chance to escape from that kind of a bad conversation, then what you can do is, you can sit and be patient with them, and slightly be in disagreement, and to whatever words they say, you can be silently say yes, and it doesn't show your agreement, but it's like, okay kind of thing. You don't have to say yes, but you can say okay. So healthy conversation is very important, inviting very nice expressions on your face, and so that's more important. So these conversational skills or conversations are supposed to be fun. So they cannot be very serious all the time. Of course, if there is any serious subject, then what you can do is, you can say, what you can do is, maybe kind of it's like, sometimes this depending upon the subject, you can definitely be happier, even if that subject is very serious. So of course, you make sure you have a healthy, without any bad arguments with the person you are talking to, so that will not again disturb your mindset. So that is one thing. And they involve personal interactions between two or more people about something of interest, something of interest. So involve them, personal interactions, between them. Right, and that's more important. Next, many people worry about having conversation, and instead of doing well on their part, they worry about their having conversations. The conversational idea, the environment itself is spoiled because of their mindset. They're concerned that they won't be able to keep the conversations going. So all these inhibitions are there. So they are inferior, first of all. They have inhibitions, first of all. They're very shy. They are not very open minded, and even if they have this narrow mindedness, because of that, you can what you can do is, like, they are more concerned about that they won't be able to keep the conversation going. So make sure you keep these conversations healthy, because I know it's like, what you can do there is, for example, in case the topic is very difficult and the person there is not doing well. So what you do there is, like, you have patience and then try to smile at him, and please don't avoid conversations, because they are the people are very bad mood. So you have to be mindful of that. Next, keep a conversation going. Okay, keeping a conversation going is something of an art. and one which may for example, like once upon a time there are students who are not at all actively involved in the kind of conversation that the teacher is conducting. And so why did it happen? It's just because the conversation is full of unhealthy words, and that is not continued, and it is stopped several times. Again it is picked up, again it is stopped, it's it got stopped, and again they picked up. So the kind of commotion that they have during conversation led to this sort of interest in the minds of the readers or listeners. So what they said is like, we are no more interested. So having a conversation going is something of an art, and one which many of us now seem to lack. So this kind of patience is more important. Keep doing it, keep continuing that. This session explains how you can learn this dying art and have constructive and enjoyable conversations, right, with people around. So, what with others? So, keeping a conversation going is an important art. Secondly, this explains how you can learn this dying art. This explains how you can learn this dying art and have constructive, enjoyable conversations with others, right? So enjoyable conversations always create some sort of interest in the minds of the listeners, right? Now let us look at some characteristics of a high quality conversation. So is there a high quality conversation? Yes, there is. So you have to follow neat rules and regulations for in order to conduct a healthy conversation, right? So number one, providing conversations have a purpose. Realize there is a purpose, there is a goal, and stay focused on that purpose. And you have to be very focused. You have to be very mindful of that. Based on that, you can conduct or carry out a conversation. Next, below are some things that I have put up, characteristics of high quality workplace conversation. So now what are they? Number one, listen for understanding. Listen for understanding. Organizations that matter. Okay, he says yes for success rate. Listen for understanding. Listen for you have to make sure that you gain understanding. You try to understand the matter, and then you can give your responses. So that's more important. And also before you do that, what I say is, and other characteristics are like open mind. Number one, listen for understanding, and number three, cheerful attitude, peaceful attitude. Number four, tolerating others ill behavior, and also for number five, having good body language, again is an added advantage. Now, how you can really improve your conversational skills? Is there a way? Yes. So maybe you are at a step on one, okay, and you want to reach the heights 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So upon the ladder of this success, you can really be on that in case you take some measures. Number one, the rules of conversation. What are some rules of conversation? Number one, conversation is a two-way street. Conversation is a two-way street. Why? It is both, it should be from both sides. It cannot be from one single side. It should be from both sides. And all the time, you cannot speak 24/7. No, it is a two-way street. That means like you have to initiate, and then you have to invite response also. Give some sort of break, stop for a while, and then continue. So you cannot all the time, run this kind of conversation, one man show. That's not going to work out. You are not going to raise questions. You are not going to all the time. You are giving them answers, and all the time this is it is something that is very difficult, right? So conversation is a two-way street. Next, be friendly and polite. Be friendly and polite. It's your responsibility to be friendly with the people around. Why? You are not going to have a bad discussion, and as a result, what happens is, and then like you develop a sort of fighting, and and then like you keep interacting with them, and for after a while you are you run out of peace, and then you don't want to go ahead with that the same person, so, and it's just because you do not have a healthy conversation. So give them a chance to speak, okay, and then ask for their suggestions, ask for their instructions, ask for their responses. In that way you acknowledge, in that way you respect that person. That is number one. Next, be friendly and polite. Always, this is very important. So you have this is your responsibility. Always friendliness is very important. You have to be polite, and then because you don't have any right to take away their right, or you have to respect equally. Otherwise, you cannot say that you are very good at maintaining relationships, or maintaining giving equal importance to all. So that is very important. Number three, respond to what they are saying. Respond to what they're saying. Many people, they talk, they initiate, but they don't respond. They be silent. This is another problem. You can't be silent, you should not be silent. And what do they do is, like, you have to carry out a very important task for that. And uh, uh, and then and it is all about how you are really respond. It's not about your agreement with them, but it is how well you are responding, and what you are responding is a different thing. How well you are responding is more important. Next, use signaling devices to help the other person. You say yes or no. You say yes or no. You ask whether it is right or not. So, do you agree with this? What I say? Okay, what is your answer? You ask some signaling. Use some signaling devices to help the other person, so that that person will in turn respond to you. So, also, this is something that you need to practice. And then also number five is create emotional connections. Create emotional connections. And so these are some rules. So why do you have to create some emotional connections? You have to create emotional connections in order to build up good relationships with them, in order to get the work done properly, in order to say yes to them, and also you have to empathize with them, you have to sit with them, you have to say yes to them, you have to sometimes when you are not very much happy with the people around there, and definitely you will not have a proper conversation, that's for sure. You have to have a proper conversation, right? So so that's more important. And sometimes when people say problematize something, you try to keep yourself in that situation. So create emotional connections. Create emotional connections. That's more important. Next, be interested and you will be interested. Be interested and you'll be listen to them patiently. Listen to them with good interest, and definitely you will be also paid. It's like paid equal importance there. Show interest in others. So you be willing to listen to them. If you are not willing to listen to them, then obviously they do not open up with you. They don't come up with new ideas. See, if your conversations are very good, then automatically that person will help you in many ways, and that person will not create any problem. That person will definitely try to work out some kind of great the person will definitely create that kind of interest. So show interest in others also. Respect your office culture. you bring respect to your office culture. And in what way do you bring respect to your office culture? In the sense like, you have to go, some rules and regulations that they really come, until and unless they are very problematic to you, right? And make sure you are in the border. Don't take any advantage until and unless that is required, and it is something very important, and you are not able to carry on, right? That's more important. Keep your opinions about life outside the office to yourself. Keep your opinions about life outside the office to yourself. See, okay, and you don't bring in your personal thoughts and opinions on general issues. Of course, your personal experiences are very important, but don't always bring in your opinions about life outside the office. So that's also very important. Make conversations at the appropriate times, and make sure you speak to them at appropriate times. Don't go to that person all the time, when that person is very busy, or when the other colleagues are very busy. You are supposed to wait for the right opportunity. You're supposed to find in some time to initiate the conversation, right? And also make sure you schedule some time to discuss work related topics. So for everything, you need to do it. Like for everything, the time should be given. You have to schedule time to discuss work related topics, and without that you cannot face any issues. You cannot face any good opportunities. So for that, you have to write down, or you have to sketch, or you have to pen down some thoughts and schedule it properly. Otherwise it is very difficult. It's very difficult to conduct. And one more thing that is very useful to people is something related to kind of what is the thing is like, they bring irrelevant things and discuss with the people around, and that will really bring a bad name to the organization. Please don't discuss irrelevant things with the people who visit your organization. Speak always relevant things. Speak good things about it. If you have problems, don't speak, okay? And give a good picture of the environment that you are really working in. And these conversations, sometimes these conversations are taken up during lunchtime. So that's where we get tempted to speak unnecessary shit. So avoid, draw a borderline, and try to work on that. And before that also, like I said, you have to respect the rules and regulations that you are really working in. And also when you are conducting doing these conversations, make sure you know the culture of that people also. Then you will realize what to speak and how to speak, because in their culture the things may be very different, and in your culture the things may be different. Maybe the vocabulary you use here, vocabulary you use there may be different. So what do you do is, like, you have to you have to work with them, and create a great impact about it. So, and also respect kind of the culture that you are into, and keep your opinions about life outside the office. So don't always mix up the life that you are really not interested in. So that is one important thing. And also make sure you are very cordial and polite. Use some polite expressions. May I take the chance to speak? Can I take the opportunity? Could you please tell me what were some important things? So use some model verbs. Use some nice words when you are conversing with others. Also, always don't be serious. Your facial expressions will convey a lot, and they will talk about your personality. Your hand gestures are very important. Your body language conveys 60% of the message. Even if you don't intend to, but they will convey 60% of the message. It's just because you use right body language or wrong body language. So that is very important, my dear learners. Understand, you need to draw some emotional connections. Try to see the problem when the person is telling from your perspective, from your side. How do you really face the problem? How do you really face the those situations? So that is more important. Be interested, and definitely, and in case you are not willing to share your information, then try to be very open and say, okay, I'll let me think about it a little later. But do not say no directly to what they are saying. You just ask for some time. Can you please give me some time until you take it? Can you please think about it when when I say something about it, right? So that's more important. And also, when you are having this kind of conversational skill, always try to win their support when you are doing this conversation, because their support is very much useful. In case if they are not in support of what you're saying, try to convince them, persuade them, give them some time. You keep the opportunities open, and you try to explain them in detail. See, these are the things that are really gaining for our company. So explain them, give them time to think, but never give blunt responses soon after you say. So that is that is more important, my dear listeners who are all listening to this lecture. Make sure you have proper ethics when you are doing this conversation. Be with an open mind. Be with a smiling face. Be open to their ideas, even if you do not like their ideas. Be patient with them. Understand from their perspective. Do not always say that they have some problems and constraints. Try to understand their problems and try to give them good solutions based on what they are thinking, right? And also a few more keys or tools that will be helpful to use. If you want to improve your conversational skills, start conversing with have start conversations in small numbers. Then you can slowly increase the number, right? You can start the conversation right from your friends, and then you can go to your colleagues, and then go to your boss, then go to the heads, and like that you can really improve your conversations. And one more important thing is don't be dominant. This is very, very, very distracting. Dominance is always is always there to bring you down. This kind of characteristics is very bad when we get, because you're not here to dominate others, but you are here to cooperate and take their cooperation. You are there to bring out something very efficient with only with the help of others, not just with your help alone. So as a result, what you have to do is you have to mingle with them. You have to understand them. Never ever say that you don't have any option and that is why you are like this. Don't give excuses until and unless you have appropriate reasons to say. Right? So conversation is a two-way street. What are some rules? Let me brush answer that. So conversation is a two-way street. Number 2, to be friendly and polite is very important. Number 3, respond to what they're saying. Respond. Number 4, use signaling to help the other person. Number 5, create great emotional connections. Number 6, be interested and you will be interested. So these are a few. And then 7, show interest in others. Respect your office culture. Keep your opinions about life outside the office to keep yourself good. Okay, so follow all these things, and certainly you will be in a place where you have a great conversation or great conversations with your colleagues and with your bosses and managers. And if you are going to be upcoming engineers, then this session is for you. Follow it and try to understand it and then practice. once again, again and again. Thank you.
Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.